Awesome.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and get started then. So April will keep time for today, and the minutes. So we'll just go ahead and follow there. And then we got a lot to discuss. So we'll go ahead and just try our best to stay on schedule. I know we got a lot of different things added here. And then I hope to see y'all at Taco Tuesday after. With that, I think we can go ahead and start talking about the different schedules that we have here. We if we want to just confirm the schedule that we've been talking about, Tuesdays and Thursdays for the officer meeting. Does that still work for everybody, or do we want to discuss that a little bit?
I'm sorry. So you said Tuesday and Thursdays?
No, no, excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of something. Tuesdays. It's the second and fourth Tuesday at 6 p.m.
Yes, that works for me.
That works.
Okay, okay. We want to go ahead and lock that in as the recurring schedule.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. And then we need to pick a recurring schedule for the monthly membership meetings. Um, how do y'all feel about the fourth Wednesday of the month?
Not good for me.
Okay, okay. What would be better for you?
I think we should put yours on mute, please. Put yours on. Okay. Okay. I'm thinking that we should have a meeting before.
You guys are echoing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the echo is quite strong.
All right. I'm just going to talk on April's. Okay.
Sure.
Can y'all
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can
Yes.
hear you.
Yeah. I propose that we have a on our. So we're saying every other Tuesday, right?
Yeah,
For
for the
for
for the
our
officer meetings.
So I think when we have the once a month meeting, we should have a meeting. We should change that meeting to 5 o'clock, limited to an hour, and then have so we can brief ourselves before we have the meeting with the union
with the
and
members?
with the members, and that way we that just reiterates that we're all on the same page, and we don't everybody's on the we have the agenda set, and we can move forward from there. It would be a smoother transition if we did it that way.
So are you suggesting having the membership meeting on a Tuesday?
Well, I guess that won't work because it's Taco Tuesday.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I was thinking. A lot of people might be doing that instead.
Yeah.
Oh, oh. What time does Taco Tuesday start?
Taco
It,
Tuesday generally starts sometime after 7, but I would be worried about having those on the same day. People, might not want to go to both. People might, be unavailable.
right.
The reason that I had suggested Wednesday was just because, if it's the day after Taco Tuesday, we can announce it there, make sure people are reminded about it. You
Well,
know,
Charles, can I make a suggestion? What about Thursday? If Wednesday doesn't work for Lex, and I know that Thursday seemed to be, I think we normally have them on Thursday anyway, at about 7 or 8 o'clock. I think last Thursday was very well. Last meeting was very well attended. I was on a Thursday, um, so I think we should either keep it on a Tuesday or a Thursday. I think our last two was maybe on a Tuesday, um, but yeah, I think Thursday works as well.
yeah,
If everybody's
Thursday,
okay with
Thursday would
that.
work for me.
Okay, we can keep it on. This has been on Thursday. Let's just keep it on there. If things change, as far as my schedule's concerned, then April will just have to represent me when it comes to that. But that sounds fine. Let's keep it on Thursday since that's been working for us and we had a good turnout on the Thursday.
Awesome. Do we want to call it the fourth Thursday of the month?
Yes,
Sounds
I think so.
yeah. I
Awesome.
second that.
So essentially, Charles, what I'm hearing is that we would have an officer meeting, skip a meeting, I mean, skip a week, officer meeting, and then we'll have that. So it's officer meeting, skip a week, officer meeting. Then well, on Tuesday, then we have the general meeting on a Thursday of that second officer meeting, then skip it. Yeah, so every other week we're having a meeting. Okay, yeah, that definitely works for me.
I just have a question. So we're meeting twice for officers, twice a month. Is twice a month needed? Because I mean, if the updates are the same and sometimes some of them might not be updated till the next month.
I think as long as we limit it to, I think we should limit our time on the second meeting of the month to an hour. Just to, cause I think we need to meet twice a month.
Okay.
Yeah, I
For
mean,
now.
and they can definitely be quick meetings, like the length of the meeting can depend on how much there is to talk about that week. If it's just, a couple quick updates, good to hear from y'all. All right, let's leave, then that's great. But it also shows that like, we're still talking to each other. We're making sure anything that needs to get done is getting done,
And our bylaws, we kind of have to meet now, unless we change those again.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's logistics reasons to meet, and then also Howard is right. We are required to meet twice a week, twice a month according to the bylaws.
All right.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, it doesn't specify how long, so we just, it can vary in length depending on what's, necessary for that month.
All right, let's move on to the next item.
All right, so the last thing in terms of scheduling is, if we want to put the tables in the lobby, the information tables on a recurring schedule so that people can predict that and more officers can attend, or if we want to decide that month by month, whatever it's looking like. We could do it either way.
We can do both, but I think the information that was disseminated on the elevators along with on the screen that's downstairs was very effective. So we can also utilize that along with the table if that's necessary. But I think I think we'll talk about that later as far as getting marketing materials to put out on the website, the elevators, and the display screen downstairs in the lobby.
Yeah.
So I'll note the TVs we've been doing recently, that's been going well. In terms of the elevators, the property manager has asked that we don't put flyers in those holders in the elevators. He has asked that be only for building direct communication. And that is why he gave us the TVs instead. He said, in exchange for not putting them on the elevators, we'll go ahead and put them on the TV. And at that time we had accepted that, if that's something we want to discuss, we can. But that's the current arrangement.
Hey,
Okay.
Charles, can we request something because everybody comes to the concierge to get their package or whatnot. Maybe one of those standing flyer or something that we can request for them to, we can put in there. Is that possible?
I think we could request that. I'm not sure exactly what he would say, but I think it's definitely worth asking. I think one of the things that this property manager has emphasized is that he wants everything to look clean and professional. So if we're just putting like a stack of flyers, he might have an issue. But if we get one of those plastic stand-up holders and we're putting one flyer that's visible, I think he might be open to that. I don't think he'd be open to the elevator, which is why he gave us the TV, but I think he might be open to the front desk.
That's great, because when someone's going to the front desk, they can wait while they're waiting. They can see that, if there's information with telling them, hey, check your email. We sent minutes based on officers meeting and etc.
It looks like Korea is putting a question here in the chat. She's saying, do people look at the TVs on the first floor? I think generally they do. I know I do. I've seen a number of people come up to me and say, hey, I saw the flyer on the TV, I'll be there. But I think
it's been effective.
Yeah. So did we want to, I know we said we would do it, on the TVs and on the thing, but in terms of actually standing in the lobby and passing out the flyers, do we want to set that on a recurring schedule or just kind of do it, figure that out month by month?
Yeah, I think month by month. I think that, I mean, I don't think that we need to, I think maybe if we do that, it should be probably the week of the meeting. But I don't think, on a monthly basis, every other week or every other day or so. I don't think that's necessary.
Oh, no, 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 of course. I mean, like, in advance of the meeting, generally, we do 2 tables in the lobby, ahead of the meeting. We do one on a weekend afternoon to catch that crowd, and then one after 5 p.m. on a work day to catch the people coming back from work. And we do that, like the right before the meeting, in order to make sure everybody's aware of it.
Hmm.
I think that's great. What, would it be okay if we do that? We just rotate it with the officers to volunteer?
Yeah, absolutely.
Never available, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we can just we can pick a day, or those 2 days, depending on what month it is, and then just whoever's available on those days, we'll do it then.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
So I just want to clarify, to a general meeting, are we meeting every Thursday at 8? I'm sorry, every last Thursday at 8 o'clock?
No,
No. Okay.
I'm sorry. Oh yes, I'm sorry. Every last Thursday. Do we want to do 8 p.m.? Is that the time we're looking for? Or do we want to pull it a little earlier?
We can do 7. I mean, I'm okay with
It's
that as
7.
well. Okay.
7, we'll show up at 8. So,
Yeah, I think every fourth Thursday at 7 p.m. sounds great.
Perfect.
All right, do we want to move into the updates from the officers?
Yes, we're a
Sure.
little behind, but yes, go ahead. You go first, Howard.
Okay, so of course, as you guys know, well, I have been attending the ANC meetings on behalf of our tenant union, just to get updates from the neighborhoods, the ANC, the mayor's office, the Metropolitan Police Department. And one thing I noticed, and something that I noticed from our last meetings, from our last 2 meetings, our meetings are kind of discombobulated. And I know we have kind of like a chief, or I think Karie's actually title, but I know that she's going to be the person to kind of keep us on schedule and things like that, making sure we have decorum and all of that. But one thing, I'm going to put this in our chat. Just one thing I noticed that they do every week, they have a standing agenda, and I'm going to move that we do something like this just to keep us on schedule, and then we maybe hold, like, we kind of update our tenants, update our general membership, but then if they have any questions, we ask that they hold those to the end of the meeting so that we can get through all of our, especially now that I'm sorry, hold them off until the end of the meeting. Especially now that we have, we're getting, we're developing or creating more committees and things like that, so that we don't run over time. So I just put the link in the chat, and that's just kind of like what they do. So they go through all of their kind of officer ANC updates. And then after that's completed, they ask we ask the people to raise hands if they're on, because they're doing it virtual. And then we answer their questions, as opposed to having them kind of stop in the middle and then having a large kind of conversation that would push us off schedule. And then it also makes sure that we maintain our decorum, and that the meeting is productive. And so I just want to thank you, Karie. I just want to make sure that that we get through our meetings, that they're not running 2 or 3 hours when they're scheduled to be an hour, hour and a half.
I think actually, as a point of order, I'm pretty sure we have something like this already in the bylaws. We haven't quite, stuck to it or been following it, which hopefully, Karie can keep us in line going forward there. But I think we technically have, I would have to look what article it is, but it says, the first thing is new business, and then or it's old business, then new business, then reading of the minutes or waiver of that. I think technically.
Yes. Okay. Okay, maybe I missed I know I came a little late the last time, so I didn't get that. But I know the last 2 meetings we attended, it wasn't we didn't really kind of get into our full agenda, and when we did get through it, it was we were running a little late.
Yeah, that was not one of the amendments from the last meeting. That's been there since the beginning. But you're right, we haven't been following it. You know, hopefully now, you know, we can be sticking to this a little bit better, or a lot better, hopefully. But I can just read it here. It seems it's record of attendance, then proof of meeting notice or waiver of notice, reading of the last meeting minutes or waiver of the reading, then report from officers, report from committees, elections, unfinished business, and new business.
Perfect. Yes. Okay, great.
Awesome.
Good.
And also, I know that we're just recording this for a video. I mean, for audio, but I think it's important that we read we read these kind of things like what Charles just did. Just read them into the record, just because I don't think that once we put this online, that the actual notes and chats and everything show up. I think it's literally just this portion, like that where it sees us talking. I know that I listened to sometime the meetings after the live Zoom that they do at the ANC meetings, and I never get any of the chat stuff and all that kind of stuff. So just make it a point that we kind of read these things into the record, like you just did, Charles, just so that who's ever coming back listen to our meeting, that's read into the record.
Yeah, acknowledged. Good.
And then so that's that thing, and then we were contacted actually probably about maybe. It was some months ago, and I waited. I was communicating with this nonprofit and saying that we just kind of restarted, and I wanted to make sure that we kind of got our bearing right before I kind of brought this up. But they have been kind of asking every so many weeks about whether we had time to talk about this. But there is a nonprofit who is I think they are germane to Ward 5, our ward. And helping the residents and students and things like that here. And so they are asking to partner with us for some kind of fundraising initiative for, September for going back to school. And, they have some other things for the homeless in the neighborhood and things like that. And so I just wanted to kind of I don't necessarily want to have a full discussion about it now, but I just wanted to get you all kind of your consensus on whether you think you would want to do something like this. I know that we as a committee are talking about, kind of doing fundraising for ourselves, because we do have, expenses for this committee. Whether we want to kind of focus on ourselves or some fundraising events for ourselves, or whether you would be open to having a communication with, a discussion about, kind of helping the more community at large and partnering with them to do some fundraising.
I mean, I think that sounds great. And thank you for bringing it to us. I think we're a community organization, and anytime we get a chance to work, with the wider community as well, if there's ways that we can partner, help out our community and help out their community, then I'd love to. I want to hear some specifics, but I noticed. So I want to ask, is it Ward 5 or Ward 6? Because
I asked her that because I didn't notice that until I actually went to the website. She told me it was Ward 5, and I don't know why it says so. I think it seems to be a partnership with the ANCs and this nonprofit, as best I can tell. And so I sent her that email after I sent you guys the information in chat. I kind of went back and I said, wait, if this is Ward 6, then this is not something I think we'd be interested in, because we're Ward 5 residents. And so I'm just waiting for her to respond back to that, which is why I didn't want to kind of go into depth, but I know that there's other nonprofits like Empower around here that also have reached out to us the previous iteration of this, who wanted to partner with us regarding some kind of fundraising initiative or partnerships.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think we should begin exploring it.
Okay, perfect then. All right, well, that's all I have.
Awesome.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna go through it quickly because we're behind timeline. So first one is parking audit update. After I sent the email. Huh? Go ahead. You wanted the parking audit update? Go ahead.
No. I was just wanting to give an outreach update. The subcommittee have been doing some groundwork and grassroots within the community, within our own community, to increase awareness and participation, along with being involved in union membership. So the Brotherhood has increased by at least 7 members in the garden community has committed to also come at about a 90% capacity, as well as people who have heard about our meeting. So as far as outreach is concerned, it has been somewhat successful as far as me being able to outreach to people, to tenants in the building to participate. So just wanted to give a brief update on what I've been trying to do as far as on the grassroots scene.
Very cool.
All right.
Thank you.
So
Mhm.
parking audit update, that is still ongoing. I did talk to Dom today, and the reason why I talked to him is I was inquiring about the storage, which I will segue a little later. He still continue to do that, but the update he's providing me regarding his audit is there were 51 garage fobs or clickers that were removed from the people that were not paying for parking. But out of the 51, there were about 30 of them that were re-added because he verified that they were going to be paying for parking. What he find regarding these remotes were the residents had either wrong remote control or they were passed on from previous residents, passed on to another residence, that kind of thing. So just letting you know how that's the update he provided me regarding the parking audit update. Regarding storage update, I myself have a storage and I went to see him and he is in the process of trying to make a list of folks. So if we probably need to communicate this to our members by end of month, if you do have a storage, you might want to see Dom. And so in this way, he can make sure that your storage is not cleared out by end of month. Now, he did say after end of month, he's going to try to get the storage cleared out. But I don't know if we want to cascade this to the members, but possibly that, he's going to get to it. But his thing is end of month, trying to get the storage cleared out. I don't know if he's going to do a, a yard sale or something like that. I'm not sure, but that's his goal. Trash backup. So the trash, apparently from 3rd floor to the 5th floor. I don't know if you guys know that it was backed up for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And
I heard one of the members mention that.
And what it was due to unpaid invoices between Greystar and Douglas. Now, he said it wasn't Greystar issue, it was Douglas. The invoice wasn't paid, that wasn't cleared out, but that issue has been resolved, and the trash is no longer backed up. Now, I know, since I live on the 2nd floor, I didn't know there was an issue with the trash backed up, but that, I guess the backed up was from the 3rd floor all the way to the 5th floor. But he said that shouldn't happen anymore. They figured it out regarding, making sure that the timely payment for the invoices between Douglas and Greystar.
I mean, I never would have guessed that was the reason that was happening, but it's good to hear that it's resolved and shouldn't be happening again.
Right. While I was talking to him, he did request regarding, agenda to prioritize requests to provide to him. That he's saying, well, I haven't gotten anything from the tenant union regarding to, what are your priorities? What do you want? What do you want done? So he's looking for urgent, our top priority of what we request. And that's everything from.
So it should go urgent, non-urgent, important, non-important. So the items should be listed by priorities, and that should be determined based on the what the tenants want to see done. What is a priority, and what is the first thing they want to see is itemized listing. But the way it should be communicated, it should be. But I feel like what he's trying to say is frustrating to get one person, a tenant here, a member here, and it's not streamlined. So what he wants to do is just basically streamline it in an email, construct an email once a month, where he can address it accordingly, where he's not overwhelmed because, of course, he has other things to do. And I think this will be a best practice for our relationship with him and to make sure that we get things done, because people get frustrated
I can't, I'm sorry, Lex, I cannot hear you.
I'm sorry. So to capsize what I said, basically is what he's trying to say is he wants our agenda and what we want done prioritized once a month through an email. And that's to streamline, to, ensure that we are all on the same page and that he's not getting one response from one member or a response every day or every other day. Because, I think that causes some type of frustration, which puts up a roadblock for us not to have a good relationship with him, or a working relationship rather. And we should abide by what his requests are as far as having a streamlined agenda. We can come to him and here's an email and he can address those emails, and then the follow-up email from the next month is like, where are we on these particular points?
Yeah, like an update.
Yeah.
I see that Charles put a really great like kind of spreadsheet together. That I don't know if you guys looked at your the shared mailbox, but he has a short term, medium term, and long term. And I think we just have to prioritize them in terms of kind of what we need. But I think that's a really good starting point.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I shared that. To give some context, that is back from the January meeting. Before we had the bylaws committee, before we did any of this formal stuff, when we just kind of got together as neighbors to talk about, what we wanted out of the union and how it would look. We kind of had this initial breakout session just to kind of document some of the concerns that got people in the room that, made people want to do this union in the first place. It's not terribly detailed in terms of explanations or the solutions that they want, but it is a good jumping off point to get a bit more extensive and get a good idea of where we want to go. But I'm glad to hear that the property manager is interested in working with us and hearing a little bit more from us. I'm a little skeptical, just because, on the one thing that we did try and communicate with him, we didn't really get much clarity that now he's asking for more stuff. But I think.
No, I don't think he's asking more so. I think he's asking for a better process of asking.
Yeah.
I think he's saying is that, coming to my office every other day with a different issue is kind of frustrating for him, and he can't wrap his head around one thing. So I don't think that he's asking.
Lex, when you speak closer to the mic. You are not heard, and he's recording, so it can be picked up on the audio.
Yes.
So I don't really think that it's about more information. I think it's the process of the information, and which will lend to a better relationship. So he's asking not for more information, but all of the information at one particular time in a constructed email, and prioritize what is urgent, what is not urgent, what is important, what is not important. So us using that template that we have, those items need to be filled into that template, BC or CC to everyone on board, including him. That's what he's asking. He's not asking for more information. He's asking for a better process to get information.
Yeah. And I think that's an encouraging sign. And I think we should take advantage of it as we're doing all of our work.
And I think that's a great process, because I will have a tracking of email, right? So I would say as of this date, and he did say if I send him those things, everything that we love, that we want to see prioritized, he will try. What he do is he will use that list to send to the owners, and then hopefully to come back to us with the timeline or whatever they're going to get things fixed first.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can definitely incorporate that into our process, and then that gives us just an additional layer of documentation, and things that we can work from, and update the members on.
And as far as accountability is concerned as well, because that means we have, a documented, actual document that has been, ran up the chain. So I think it works well for both parties involved.
Yeah. I have, some concern just because we are echoing what the members have already told him. You know, like it's not like he's unaware of these issues. So, you know, but at the very least we can have that documentation, and he can know that it's coming from us, and that this is something very clearly a majority of the building wants. And then we can just keep following up on that while we're doing our work as a union.
One
Yeah.
question I had, Charles, the document that you would provide me that was discussed on the first tenant union meeting, I can use that, and then I guess when we have our members meeting, we can use that working document, and they can continue to add a list of things, so I can just continue to add those lists of things. And how do we determine to get a survey or vote of, you know, for the new items that are being added in there? How do we go about asking members to determine what is more priority?
I think we do that at the meeting.
Well-
That would be, that should be something that we already have, you know, filled out a sheet on the actual, you know, so they can sign or fill out at the meeting.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's the $1 million question, right? Is how do we actually get translated onto paper what concerns we want addressed and how we want them addressed. And I think it can be a two-pronged approach there, where we are, you know, monthly for the updating issues, we can be talking to membership and sending you know, priorities. And then also thankfully we just established these committees, and we can get those up and going to create the kind of more comprehensive overall thing that we want, that, you know, that we want discussed and negotiated with them. And we can kind of you know, be hearing from membership there.
Yep, I think that sounds great.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we can be both dynamic and responsive with our monthly emails, and then comprehensive and really making sure we are getting everything down and negotiated with them in that kind of overall committee structure.
Yeah, I also think that April, just to kind of piggyback off what you were saying regarding that list, I think that we need to create some kind of pipeline, and I think that, well, maybe this may be something that they do on the committee level, but I definitely think that we need to kind of incorporate some kind of pipeline in terms of kind of where, you know, where we are, kind of, you know, we notified management at this date. You know, they said that at this date they would get back to us, and then that way it's a kind of a flowing chart of progress, if you will. But just for you, Lex asked how would we get that information. I think that yeah, I agree with Lex. I think we should present the list to the membership, the full membership, and have them kind of prioritize kind of what they feel is needed immediately, and like you said, kind of like the more immediate some things that can last longer, and just so that we can kind of manage their you know, their you know, manage their expectations, and just let them know that everything is not going to be kind of handled in a week, you know, not even maybe 6 months, but let them know that kind of, okay, this is what we're looking to have handled in the first, you know, 3 to 6 months, and then let them kind of pick that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You know, kind of getting it from multiple angles, you know what I mean, and making sure that they see that we're working on their behalf.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what I'm hearing is that on the next members meeting, we'll have a list of all the lists will be in the Word document, and on the right side of it, they have to do a check mark to see if this is important, not important, whatever it is that we determine.
No, I think we should have urgent, important, non-important, and you list the 3 things. You list the things that are important, not important, and then we do a tally and come up with the things that we need to attack based on the poll that we submitted at the meeting.
Yeah.
I don't feel like we should be telling the tenants what the issues are. We need to listen first and find out what their issues are. And we create this sheet, a fill-in sheet, where they can write in that particular fill-in sheet, then we can disseminate and we can determine what the issues are. Because from last January, we're already in July. some of those issues might have been resolved, some of those issues might not be important, some of those, and some of those issues might be on the table, and some of those issues might have gone from non-important to urgent. So we need to we need to reassess what tenants want to see. So I think we do a blank sheet as far as urgent, important, non-important, and let them fill those things in.
You know what I'm concerned about? I'm sorry. You know what I'm concerned about, Lex, is that I think that's going to take an entire meeting. I think that we should probably, I know we have an online process where they can send that information in. Let them do that prior to the meeting, and then we just kind of print out everything, and then have them assign 1, 2, or 3 to that list.
That's a great idea. I like that.
And
you know what I mean?
right.
That way it's already printed out, and we kind of know kind of where we're going, as opposed to standing up in the middle of the thing and having somebody ramble off, a bunch of different issues.
I agree.
Yeah, sounds good.
So I know we only have about 20 minutes here left, 15. So I want to make sure we get to some of the other things here. But just a piece of good news on this here is, according to the timeline that we approved at the last meeting, we should also have the committees already set up and having done a bit of their work, ready to give, a kind of update on what they're doing. So at that meeting, we will be able to get their feedback on that as well, and have that as another avenue that people can be prioritizing their concerns.
I'm sorry, did you say we have the committees already set up? I know that we established them, but
No.
do we have people end up in those positions, the committee chairs?
No. What I'm saying is the timeline that was agreed to at the last meeting was that by the next meeting, the committees would be set up and have already begun a bit of their work, enough to get some feedback. So, in addition to having the membership submit their concerns before the meeting online and getting some of their concerns at the meeting, the good news is we will also have the committees at that meeting doing this work with us as well.
Understood.
But I want to make sure we got a number of different things. So Kari, I know you have a quick officer update just about the document that you're starting, if you want to quickly hop to that.
Sure thing. So I will be implementing the rules of decorum for our meeting. And if anyone has any suggestions, anything that they want to, maybe this is my first time in the meeting. And so I want to keep the meetings moving as smoothly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So if you all can email me with any type of suggestions you may want to see implemented in the rules of decorum, any suggestions, I'm open to them. I just put my email in the chat. So email me with any ideas, anything you may want to speak upon, inform me about, and I will be comprising the rules of decorum, and I will have that ready for the next meeting.
Kari, I have a question. Are you going to, I'm assuming that we would be, let me not assume, that we, in terms of, what is it? I think there's a particular type of, oh God, I forget the name of it, but there's a type of meeting. I think the Congress uses it. I know that they use it at the ANC meeting. It's more of a formal kind of request for time to speak and things like that. I don't know that we need to be that formal, but I think we definitely need a progress like that, so that, if there's some, not necessarily argument, but there's some disagreement, we all have a time to talk about it, particularly the officers, not necessarily the entire board, the entire general meeting, because I think that would just run forever. But just some kind of implementation where there's a way for us to communicate and have the full membership hear each of the officers and our stance on things. And yes. I don't know. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
I don't know what the term that is. I don't know what term that is, or what the name of the rules. I think it's a particular something, the rules of something, or I forget that actual term, but I know there's a formal way to kind of like run the meeting or
Can
something
maybe
like
meet
that.
Robert's rules of
Sure.
order?
Yes, Robert. Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was getting ready to say that. So, Howard, thank you for that suggestion. That is actually what I'm working on, Robert's Rules of Order, so to speak,
Yes.
for our union. So email me that. That is actually implemented in the rules of decorum that I am creating. But definitely, that was a great suggestion, Howard. Thank you.
Very cool. Absolutely.
Yeah, and you know, just to expand a little bit, I think the document really talks about both how to keep order during meetings and you know, how to make sure that we're being productive and who's talking when, and then also just for, you know, the union in general outside of meetings, you know, how to how to be
How we
productive.
conduct ourselves.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Charles, I think what Lex is asking for, since we're gonna segue to payment of officer emails. I know with the email, I don't think he's received the username and password to get into outreach email. Is that what you're asking for?
Yeah.
So that's what he wants. And I think Yvette also, when I talked to Yvette, she doesn't know how to get into her to her events email either. So maybe resending that, and maybe I can help her walk her through getting into that email. Are they able to forward, let's say for events, can she forward all the emails that's coming from events to her personal email? It's a Gmail suite, right? I can forward that?
Yeah, couple questions,
Yeah.
couple things there. Yes, you can definitely forward from your person from the thing from the union email to your personal email. I did not know that Yvette had not yet gotten into that email. I definitely want to make sure she can. So I will resend that invitation email, and then if you're offering to walk her through how to actually do that, that would be great. I appreciate it. It should be a fairly simple process. She just logs into her personal email, and there will be a link that says, you know, use this to get into the what's it called, and then she can change her password. Lex, so because it was transferring to a new account, I wasn't quite able to figure out how to resend the email to your email instead of the email that it was going to. So I just gave you the username and password that was temporary. If you log in with that username and password, you can then change the password to a permanent password.
And then, and Charles, I talked about this in our chat. I used to have access to that. Did they make a change? Did you find out what was going on with that? Because
No,
when you were not, I work from home, and so if you are not, I know you're in school and things like that during the day. So I was also, kind of helping out with that. I could easily, that's an easy fix. If somebody can't get into their email, or they're having email issues, I'm quite versed at those kind of things, that I can just reset them and resend them that. But when I logged into our main account, I didn't see the domain or the email section.
that is strange. I'm thinking maybe they moved it. I can try and add you back to that.
Well, I get in, so I still have my admin privileges. It's just that they don't, when you go down, it has the website portion of it, and then it has the domain and the
yeah, I'm
email.
familiar.
And yeah, that's not there anymore. So perhaps they moved it. I know for my other, I run a bunch of different websites. But for some things, they've kind of moved it to the Google Suite altogether and kind of removed it from the website, since it is a Google Suite product. So that could be what it is as well.
Interesting. Well, for me, it's still in the same place, so I'll see.
Okay.
I'll try and see what happened with that and get that back. But in the meantime, in terms of getting Lex access, it seemed to be that you can resend the invitation email, but it goes to the email that was set up on the account when you added the user. Do you know?
I could change that. That's easy. That's an easy change. That's
Okay.
just an admin thing. Yeah.
So then, I'll follow up with you offline, in terms of how to change that so we can get Lex his invitation email, and get you back the access that you need. And then, April, I'll resend that to Yvette so you can help her. We'll get everybody logged into their emails. And then in terms of, the cost of the emails, Most of them were only paid in March, the original 720. The new officers, obviously, I don't expect you to back pay for the previous months. But if you can just go forward for the new officers, the emails are 720 monthly. And then for the officers that have been here, there's different I'm sorry, I'm trying to think how to say it. There's if you paid back in March only, it's 2880 up till now. And then if you paid in March and April, which I know one officer did, it's 2160. So if we can just get that all set up, that would be great.
How
Okay.
how are we paying you? Is it by Zelle,
Yeah.
cash?
So I have Cash App or Venmo, either is fine. And I can go ahead, I will text that out into the group chat afterwards.
Okay.
Okay.
One last thing I want to add, the link that Howard added in the chat, is there a way for that to be emailed to us in addition with the minutes?
That's April.
Sorry, I had a mute. Yes, I will do that. I have the Google. Is that the Google Docs that you put on the chat?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
I will add that in the minutes.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Speaking of emails, and sending out the minutes, one thing that I want to make sure we discuss before we wrap up here is in terms of actually recruiting people to staff these committees. I think we should send out an email saying, hey, we established these committees at the last meeting. We're looking for people interested in serving on them. It's a small time commitment. Here's what these committees do. Here's why we have them. If you're interested, you can register on the website. That's already up there. And we want to be spreading the word, like me and Howard were doing at the last meeting about at Taco Tuesday. Hey, if you're interested, check out the website. We're looking to have you.
Okay, I'll add that on the minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. Do we want to
So we
send?
only have 7 minutes. We got 7 minutes left.
Yeah. Do we want to send out just like in its own email, hey, we're looking for people, because I feel like if we put it in an email with the minutes, it might get a little lost. It might most people.
Yes, let's send out. Yeah, let's send out with a separate email and just make sure that they know that we're looking for. It's a recruitment email for the committee, for our committees.
Right.
Awesome.
I think
Yeah.
I'll send the minutes first, just to let them know, hey, what heads up, I'll be sending a separate email for volunteer requests or something like that. Okay.
Awesome.
I would like,
Perfect.
yeah, I would
Um,
like to move to skip over to discuss lack of response from regional managers, since we've already discussed that he's been his willingness to communicate in a once a month meeting. So I think he was very forthcoming and receptive. So I don't think we need to discuss that. We just need to move forward with massaging this relationship and making sure that we move forward in a congenial way where everything gets done.
In the interest of saving time, I'm going to second that. And anything we can do, we can put that in the chat if we need to kind of discuss that further. But in the interest of saving time, I'm going to second that.
I agree. We can go ahead and skip over that. But I would like to note that property manager and regional manager are different. You were saying, he's already been agreeing to work with us. That's property manager. The regional manager we have not heard from. We can go ahead and discuss this at a later time. I just want to, make sure we're all clear that those are different issues.
Yes.
Well, I think once we move it up the chain and use this process of the once a month email, then we can approach the regional manager, because we'll have something on paper to approach him with.
So, okay, guys, I would like to put this, because I want to really get to our next issue. So can we put this in a chat? Because I see what you're saying, Charles, and I think it requires additional communication on this.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm agreeing with the motion. We can table this for now. I just want it to be clear, I didn't want
Yeah.
there to be any confusion later on, but definitely we
No, I
can.
think we should talk about that. I'm in agreement with you, Charles. I think we need to get this. Okay, so so then the next thing is some residents were contacted me directly, and I know that I spoke with Lex about this, but they're asking us to mediate on their behalf. There's some issues with them and their neighbors, and they don't want to kind of keep going to the management and keep calling cops regarding maybe some noise issues or weed issues or whatever the case is. And they said, well, you guys are the tenant union. Is there anything that you can do to kind of mediate the situation between me and my neighbor? This is something I think we should be doing anyway. And so I brought it to Charles and I said, I think this is something I think is great. I think it shows that, they put their trust in us. And it's a kind of like, not necessarily, it's kind of like a body no arbitration, I guess, if you will, that for the neighbors that have issues, that, you would have your music, lowered at, at 10 o'clock at night so that, you're not, bothering your next door neighbor, things like that. And so I think that that's something that we should do. And we just wanted to kind of put that out there. I know I talked to Lex about that. He thought that was a great idea. But we wanted to get you guys kind of your input on this.
Before anyone speaks, do we need to extend the time just to speak? Do we need to extend the closure time to maybe another 10 minutes?
I move 15 minutes.
Okay, so I move to extend our meeting time to end at 7:15.
Yes, I second that.
Agreed.
All in favor?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, continue.
Oh, so yeah, so we thought that was a great idea, and I think, Charles, you may have had some concern, but so we're just kind of putting it out there and open for discussion now.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'll jump off that real quick and just share a little bit about where that concern came from. I think mediating tenant to tenant issues is a great thing that a tenant union can do. It had always been a goal of ours when establishing the union. But a little bit, it's generally something that's attempted by more established unions. So just because it has, some pitfalls that you can fall into. So I have nothing against us doing it. I just think we should do it carefully if we're going to. And, not take any sides or get too involved. Certainly we don't want to, alienate anybody or appear biased. But I think if we're able to just carefully help people resolve some differences between neighbors, that would be a great thing. And I'd love to see, a bit of a detailed plan about how exactly we would go about doing that.
I would like to add to that. I know some of our neighbors can be a bit violent, physically more than anything, and verbally. So I tread lightly on being a mediator. I'm not opposed to it completely. I do tread, however, very lightly when it comes to mediation. If we're going to do that, then there must be some parameters laid out. There must be a structure in place, and they must abide by it. Even if it's a social structure, they must abide by it for the safety of all parties involved.
Exactly.
I agree 100%. So I think what I'm hearing is that we should probably like come up with like you said, Charles, a detailed plan. I completely understand the concerns and I agree with them 100%. The only reason why I'm even bringing this up is because, like I said, I was approached by two neighbors actually, and so I was like, well, let me take it to our board and kind of we'll get back with you guys about that. But I completely agree with the concerns.
Yeah, so my narrative on this is that, yes, I agree with Carrie that we have a structured way about going about it. However, as you stated, Carrie, everyone has their own personality traits. So it's going to have to be a jelly bean management based, case by case on who we're dealing with and what we're dealing with. So I think Howard, with the fact that you were approached, that you must have a good communication source or a good relationship with this person to trust you to come to that person. So that would be the liaison on that on that person's behalf as far as listening. And then we have to identify someone else to be, even if it's you, to also listen to the other person based on the relationship that we have.
Right.
So
So
we're
what I
gonna,
was thinking, like, I not that I want, I think it should be like, I don't think it should be one person. I think we maybe do a panel, but I think that, but so the person, when they came to me, they didn't necessarily come to me and ask me for help. They came to me on behalf of asking what can the tenant union do? It's not necessarily they came to like, Howard, I have this issue. What can you do? It was kind of like, hey, I know you guys sit on the board at the tenant council. Is there anything you guys can do to help mediate this issue with with this person? And also the person is also, I think it needs to, like you said, it needs to be coming from both sides. They have to be both willing to sit down. If that's not even at the forefront, then this is not going to work. But they have to, like you said, Carrie, we have to have, kind of guardrails. They have to both be wanting to do it. They have to both take, the recommendations of the board or of the mediator, or whether it's a team or, a person. But yeah, they have to be willing to kind of like accept the outcome of it. And so that's going to be a big thing.
So, if I can suggest, it seems like, Howard, you're saying panel, Korea is agreeing with you in the chat. If we're trying to figure out, we're all interested in this, but we want to come up with a clear structure of how it would work. We have a, conveniently already built-in way to create a panel. If you call a committee a panel, then we already have a way that we can create that in a way that we can do that easily.
Exactly.
There's already a clear path for that. So if we wanted to create, like a mediation committee, and then structure it that way, that would be a way of doing a panel.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
agree. All right. So Howard, if you want to head that up, I would be happy to assist you if you just want to start the template on
Okay,
that.
sure.
Carrie,
And so we just need to, from what I understand, we just need to pretty much kind of come up with a kind of like, like we have with all the other panels, not necessarily, I'm sorry, like the other committees, but kind of like the mission of it and kind of what, what's expected of the members and things like that.
Yeah.
Correct?
And Carrie, I see that you were saying structure like a council setting. So if you have
Yes.
any ideas of how to go about that, that would be great too.
And I would suggest, I think it's great, Howard and Lex, y'all start working on this. If you can give us an update at the next officer meeting with a little bit more clarity on the plan, that would be great. Carrie would be a good resource for you here in terms of the bylaws. The bylaws say how exactly to create a committee, and that document that you were talking about, the charter, detailing, what's expected of them. There are some specific things that need to be in there in order to create the committee. And Carrie can guide you on all of that.
All right. Well, Kuri, I second your motion in the chat.
Yes, I agree.
Absolutely.
Okay, sounds great.
Great. Okay, so that seems to cover that. We'll get an update at the next meeting.
All in favor?
I agree. I agree.
Yep, aye.
So just for the record, the record, I read it, and then Korea had asked that she motioned the floor to structure the panel. I'm sorry, the mediation panel. And so that's just because we won't see the chat in the actual, well, we can't listen to it when we listen to this back. So I just want to read that into the records.
Perfect. Thank you. So I'm looking through the agenda here. It seems like we kind of hurried through a couple things, but it seems like we've covered just about everything here. In terms of next steps, April is going to send out an email with the minutes, and then we're going to get drafted an email asking people to consider joining the committees and get that sent out. Howard and Lex are going to work on a plan for the mediation committee and start drafting a charter for that with the help of Carrie, and we'll bring that back up at the next meeting and see where we are there. The officers are going to get their email set up and get current on any payments there. If anybody has any questions about, how much specifically they owe, if they don't have the history there, I can go ahead and send that number specifically over. It's it's $720 for 1 month, and if you haven't paid since March, it's $28.80.
Can I ask a question about that? When are these? Can we maybe create a schedule so that because I know that we have been talking about the payments for a while. And is there like a particular date, maybe beginning of the month, that we need to be paying these, just so that we have it on a schedule?
Sure. I mean, I haven't been terribly strict about it, but if you would like to have it on a specific timeline, instead, that's perfectly fine. I'm happy to accept it, really any day of the month, but we could call it, the first, at the start
I
of the
think
month.
if you get it.
I'm sorry, Lex?
It would be. Yeah. A
Lex, we
particular
can't hear you.
due date.
How about the due date on the first Tuesday that we meet? First officers of each, the first office meeting of each month, that's the due date.
That's
Okay.
right.
Okay.
You remind people, pay me the email.
Awesome. That sounds great. We can go ahead and that's a convenient reminder, like, hey, don't forget to do it, this day.
Perfect.
Awesome. All right. Well, does anybody else have any next steps that they want
Well, I have
to?
a question. I know that we are just kind of give the entire board an update. I know that during our last several months ago, maybe about 2 or 3 months ago, Charles and our Michael, our treasurer, were talking about meeting with the Office of Tenant Advocate, regarding kind of structuring our committee as a business, so we can actually get to the business of like opening up bank accounts and funding and things like that. And so I reached out to them. They are willing to set up a meeting. I was just waiting for us to get back on board. But so as soon as we get, I guess, Michael back, we can go ahead and move forward on kind of meeting with them to get a legal structure of our committee and kind of get what we need to do to get the business of a committee running.
Yeah, we definitely want to get Mike back to those tasks, and make it so we have that tax entity status so we can do the fundraising, so we can opens up a number of different avenues to us, and we'll definitely let Mike take lead on that whenever he's back, and in the meantime we can just go ahead and begin that process.
Yeah, and just to, put some added emphasis on that, S Corp would be more beneficial for us to raise money if we do it as an S Corp.
I believe what the last I heard from Mike when he was looking into this, he was thinking about a 501c6, I believe is what he was saying. There was some questions about, we wanted to be a nonprofit, but what exact designation of nonprofit?
Okay. All right.
So they'll give us that information once we actually meet with the that board that oversees the tenant unions and things like that, the tenant advocates. They will kind of give us several different options, and then we can kind of discuss it as a board what's going to work best for us.
Okay.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Any
All right.
next steps we need to cover before we wrap up?
Nah, I call for a motion to wrap up.
Awesome. Second.
I second that motion.
Yeah.
All righty. All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor?
The ayes have
You guys
it.
will talk on Tuesday.
All right. Thank you all for a productive
bye.
meeting. I hope to see y'all at Taco Tuesday.